Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If you've been craving slowing down, experiencing, and practicing rest, you're in the right place. It's so hard to find moments of peace, so I'm so happy you're dedicating time for yourself and choosing you. In my own experience of experiencing sexual violence and stalking and witnessing domestic violence growing up, I've gotten very good at taking orders and not resting because I was so hyper vigilant. It was not my default. So rest has been an active practice I've had to claim that has been harder actually than doing any high intensity workout. And so I want to ground in both you and me that rest is our birthright, our natural way of being. It's something that's been taken from us because trauma isn't just what happened to you, but also what you didn't have or get to experience. All that to say, practicing and experiencing rest can be triggering and bring up feelings of grief, especially if you've been used to thriving in survival. When you're used to being hyper vigilant, dissociating in the go, go, go mentality, or fluctuating between that go, go, go mentality and then the shutdown and freeze, when these have become your protective factors, returning to our bodies can feel so scary and unsafe. But there is a difference between feeling uncomfortable and being unsafe, except trauma has caused us to equate them with each other. And slowly being able to extricate and discern between noticing when we're uncomfortable and when we are unsafe is part of the healing journey. And that is what you're doing exactly right now. So I invite you to wiggle your toes and pat yourself behind the back. You're here. And if there's one thing I can say to any thoughts, sensations, or emotions arising in you right now, I want to tell you that your protective mechanisms are not defective. What you've done to protect yourself is not defective. If you feel frustrated that you're starting to dissociate or be distracted, know that that served you in the past. It's protected you. It's not defective, it's protective. And if you are feeling uncomfortable or are noting that you're starting to dissociate or become distracted by the urge to open another tab on your computer or there's an itch to scroll on another app on your phone, here's one practice to bridge yourself back to the present. And it is focusing on your breath and returning to your breath. And so we are on the same page. Let me clarify what I mean when I say let's return to our breaths. So I invite you to slowly, slowly, so slowly inhale by counting to 5. And after you inhale, you're going to hold your breath for 5 seconds. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly release your breath for 5 seconds. Beautiful. You just did a box breathing. And sometimes the hardest part about being human is to do the basic things like breathing, eating, and sleeping. And it's okay if you don't want to follow the 5 seconds. Maybe you feel good inhaling for 5 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 3 seconds. And the more repetitions of intentional breathing, the more even our counts can be. And at the same time, there's no need to force your breathing to be any number of counts. Let whatever sensation feels good to you guide you, and let that be the information and guide for you. So when I say return to your breath, or I mean, if you feel yourself dissociating or wanting to multitask, I just want you to be present with yourself and focus on inhaling and exhaling or box breathing, okay? So let's do it again. Let's inhale to the count to 5, hold for 5, and release for 5. So let's inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold that breath. Good. 4, 5, and slowly release that breath and shoot it out. Beautiful. Let's do it again. And I want you to focus on inhaling through your nose and then exhaling through your mouth. So let's and hold to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold, 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 hold. Good. And now slowly release. 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful. Let's inhale for 5 seconds again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And hold that beautiful breath right there. And now let's release it. And now I want you to experiment with a number that feels good to you. Maybe it feels good to hold for 4 seconds and inhale for 7 seconds. And know that the number you choose is not an indication or a reflection of you. Some days inhaling, holding, and exhaling for 4 seconds is just what our capacity is and may feel right. So whenever you feel distracted or uncomfortable, I want you to return to this box breathing and count to this magic number that you have identified works for you. And what's very powerful is that this is not a lecture. I'm not going to talk about the theoretical aspects of somatics or run a didactic training. And if you do want to learn more about somatics, feel free to email me at the address listed above or below. And I want to affirm that you are here to just simply exist, to breathe. You're here to experience without any expectations. So, if I'm suggesting an exercise, the goal isn't to follow along perfectly and mirror me. Please use what I say as a suggestion to merely listen to your own inner sensory world and to do what truly feels good for you in the moment. So, if I'm suggesting a breathing exercise and you feel soreness in your legs, please follow that sensation and stretch as you like. The goal is to increase your discernment about your inner sensory world. And this somatic rest session is a bridge to bring out the healer in you. Your body is beautiful. Your body is powerful. Your body is able to regulate itself. So choose what you want to engage in and incorporate as you like. So, to warm up, one way to release activation in our nervous system is to make sounds. So, let's go back to the box breath. And when you exhale slowly, I want you to make a noise. Just follow whatever emerges. So, we're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth with any sound. Ready? And just release that noise and draw it out, okay? So let's inhale for 5, hold for 5, and release any sound. So let's do it. So let's inhale together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold that breath. 3, 4, 5. And let go with any sound that emerges. Good. So let's keep doing that. Let's keep exhaling and making noises and keep exhaling until it doesn't feel weird or unnecessary. So at your own pace, I encourage you just to breathe and exhale with sound. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, and release any sounds that bubble up that need to come out. Good. Let's do it again. Let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and hold that breath. 3, 4, 5, and release any sounds. Splendid. You might feel weird, and that's okay. And welcome. And let's actually feel more weird by making faces right now before you exhale. So when you inhale, I encourage you to slowly tense up your face. Make a weird face. Let's scrunch that forehead. Let's wiggle your nose. You're going to scrunch that nose, and you're going to hold that position when you hold your breath. And then when you exhale, you're going to release all of that tension in the face. Yeah? So let's inhale together. 1, and you're scrunching up that face, that nose, those eyebrows. And as you hold your breath now, you're just tensing up that face as much as you'd like. And then let's slowly drop that and just relax and release. Good. Let's do that again at your own pace. Titrate your experience. And if you feel like it's too much at the moment and you need to just hug a pillow before deciding to return, that is so, so, so okay. Don't push yourself any more than what your body is telling you. So we're just going to inhale by slowly scrunching up the face, maybe even squeezing your eyes shut. And as you hold your breath, you might even clench your jaw, your teeth, and then slowly relax with the exhale. Amazing. So somatics is playful. It's experiential. It's a return to your inner child when we could move and take up space without feeling the need to mask, fawn, present, perform, and be anyone but ourselves. And so just know it's okay to be here and sit here during our time together if that's all you want to do. The last thing I'm going to say for this introduction is that you have an internal intuition that you know best, and everyone's bodies are different. And rediscovering our body's wisdom can feel like wandering through a maze and getting lost in ourselves. And that's okay. There's no need to force yourself to do everything I offer today. And my mission is where rest becomes a reflex. It's not something we do because we are burnt out, sick, or experienced a crisis. Rest is not something that only those with access to wealth and privilege should be able to afford. It is something that is in our right and dignity, and something that we can co-create in community. So I'm thankful for this little space we have carved out and have digitally created here at Braver Collective to come back into our bodies. So let's get comfortable and let's start with our check-in. And I hope you're lying down, possibly on your back, feeling like your legs can be so heavy and feeling the weight of gravity and the support of your spine. And as we check in, I have 3 for you. And you can respond out loud or you can think it in your head. And my first question for you is, right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how present do you feel in your body? 1 is not present at all. You're distracted and overwhelmed. You're thinking about all the different errands and deadlines and texts to respond to, and you're just feeling pressure. And a 10 is, I'm completely here in this moment right now, and I'm at peace. So decide on a number where you are, and this is just a mental check-in to see how you're doing and situating yourself in this moment. And no matter what number or where you're at, I welcome you here, and I'm excited you're trying something new and that you're choosing rest. And my second question for you is, where do you store stress in your body? Where feels tight or sore right now? Do you have any injuries? For me, right now, it's my forehead feels tense, my calves, my hips, my back, my neck, which kind of sounds like everywhere as I say this out loud. We're just assessing where we feel sore or tight right now. Good. And my third question for you is, where feels neutral in your body? And this can feel more tricky for some. For me, my hands feel neutral, probably because I'm always using them. My toes feel neutral. My elbow feels neutral. And what may feel activating in the body and neutral can also switch as well. And a side activity I like to do with my clients sometimes is we'll draw out our bodies, even if it's a stick figure, and color or highlight red and green zones that feel sore or safe when we're by ourselves. And then we'll do the same thing how do we feel the red and green zones when we're with a partner, friend, or colleague? And to do this activity once a week to see how it changes and if there's a pattern. But let's get back to where we are right now. Thank you for checking in with yourself. And after this audio ends, I'll ask you the same questions. And as you transition out, I hope you allow yourself to do the next thing slowly and softly with more rest. And for now, maybe have some scents that you love nearby, whether that's incense, oils, lotions, or even some Vaseline to rub on yourself if you feel called to. And let's get even more cozier into your bed, the ground, the sofa, or the area you're lying down. And it may help to pull some blankets over you and feel that weight as a form of security, or to hold something across your chest with your back to the ground. You may feel the need to place something below your knees to support your sacrum and lower back area to relieve the pressure there. You may feel like you want to curl into a fetal position and maybe have one leg bent and the other one straight. I encourage you to explore with different positions that feels comfortable for you and to breathe deeply. Beautiful. Before we transition into the rest exercises, I want you to tell yourself that you are open to resting and taking the rest of the time to see what emerges when you slow down. For rest to be most effective, you must have your own consent to slow down, or else you will hit a wall. And you're not alone in this endeavor. You're with me and with others that have listened to this audio and that will listen to it. So tell yourself, speak it out loud. I give myself permission to rest. I give myself consent to rest. Say your name too, and welcome any goosebumps that arise. And in this world where resting is not seen as a skill, you're here doing repetitions of rest. And if you need to tap out because you're hitting a wall, that is totally okay. If anything, I encourage you to notice and explore whenever you find yourself hitting that wall to gain more information about yourself and where you're at. All right, lovely. To transition us into our rest practice, I will first facilitate an intro typical body scan. We'll do a sensory step-by-step awareness activity that you can do with your eyes closed, and then we will close out by hugging and squeezing ourselves. So we'll start with the body scan. For this grounding activity, I first wanted to talk about the word grounding since the term is used a lot. Grounding is the feeling of being physically and energetically connected to the earth. Your body is both matter and energy, and even though gravity is always pulling you downward towards Earth's surface, it is common for us to have lost that strong energetic connection due to trauma and stress, whatever it is from the inside or outside. And when this happens, your energy is pulled upwards, resulting in a loss of connection to Earth's welcoming support. And this can result in feeling disconnected with your body. This can lead to dissociation and perhaps feeling not focused or disoriented, or simply just not feeling present. And for a grounding activity, you will come into contact with your inner world through a simple body scan. And a body scan is where you go sequentially through your body and bring awareness to each body part. And as I guide you through each part of your body, allow yourself to follow my direction so we do not get stuck focusing on one part of your body. And if you feel yourself getting stuck, just notice that and know that it's okay to move on and that you can return to give that body part more attention later on. So gently close your eyes and focus on deep breathing. It's okay to let out your exhale and hear the sound of your breath. In fact, I welcome and encourage it. Open invitation to just feel your breath circling and circulating in and out of you. You get comfortable on your back, feeling the expanse of your back and the back of your legs, touching the weight of the surface you're lying on, and noticing how the surface is supporting you. And drop your awareness down and feel your feet and ankles touching the ground. Try moving your ankles from side to side, maybe flexing your toes back and front. Maybe roll your ankles around in a circle. Notice where you feel most centered and supported. And don't forget to breathe. Sense the pull of gravity and your connections with the ground below. If you can't sense it, try imagining it. Imagining that the earth is friendly and welcoming you as it supports you. That it is telling you that you are home here in your body. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel your breath letting the energy inside of you flow to the bottom of your feet. You can once again wiggle your toes or jiggle your feet for a few seconds. Notice what your feet feel like. Maybe the soles are tight or your toes feel tingly. Notice your ankles too and feel what your ankle bones are like inside right now. Are they tight or is there some pressure? Welcome and kindly invite all sensations and pour the energy of your breath into these areas. Now notice what your knees feel like internally. Maybe they're achy or crunchy. Yeah. Bring your attention to the back of your legs. What do you become aware of in the back of your legs right now? Remember, there is no judgment as you bring awareness to your body. Your body is so powerful holding you. You are so powerful, and each breath deserves to be released fully with its full power and without judgment of how you may look or sound. Good. Now let's notice the fronts of your legs now. What are you aware of in your legs? Heaviness, lightness. Let your attention move to your hips, noticing what it is like to bring your full attention there. What is arising? Breathe there and notice slowly. Good. Let's scan your tailbone, your sacrum, your lower belly. If you bring your breath there, what happens? What do you notice inside this part of your body right now? Now let's bring your attention to your lower back. What do you notice there? Maybe heat, cold, pressure, or softness. Now let's move up to your belly. Feel into your belly and allow your breath to show you sensation. Hungry, gurgling, fullness, emptiness. Feel into your ribs and diaphragm and see what it's like in there. Now notice your whole spine. Feel into each vertebrae with care and pay attention to how it feels. Breathe gently in and out. Good. Now sense the front of your chest and feel what's going on in there. Feel into your throat with awareness. What does your throat feel like today? Scratchy or smooth? How about the back of your neck? Feel the muscles along the back of your neck and notice how it feels today. Pay attention to the sensations of aliveness in your arms, from your shoulders down into your elbows, and all the way down into your hands and fingers. What catches your attention here? What arises through sensation to the surface of your consciousness here? Then let's bring your attention to your head. How does your head feel today? And if you're sitting down, you can let your head soften towards your chest and notice the pull of gravity. And let's sense around the top of your skull and bring your breath there. What does that feel like? And if you're sitting and your head is resting, you can slowly roll that neck and breath, letting that energy circulate through. And if you're lying down, you can imagine that your head is melting into the ground or the supporting surface. Wiggle your toes, your fingertips. Let's unhinge and loosen that jaw, stretch it out. You can flutter your eyes open and just briefly look around you and identify some familiar shapes. You've just completed a body scan, which helps identify sensations while you are grounded in. And if you've noticed any places of tension or soreness, I invite you to stretch, hold, and acknowledge these areas later today and claim that time for yourself. So now what we're going to do is a step-by-step awareness activity. And you can continue staying in the position, or you can adjust and experiment with another comfortable position. And I will read out loud about 23 questions to you. And you are going to listen for your own bodily response after each question. And there will be about 5 seconds in between each question, so just instinctively sense into your body. And you will soon feel into how this exercise will also feel like a body scan. So let's begin. And let's take a breath together. Good. Can you feel your hair touching your head? Can you feel your belly rising and falling as you breathe? Can you feel the space between your eyes? Can you feel your breath touching the back of your eyes while you inhale? Can you picture something far away? And you're welcome to have your eyes closed or soften your gaze. Can you feel the bottoms of your feet? Can you imagine a beautiful day at the beach? Can you notice the space within your mouth? Can you notice the position of your tongue in your mouth? Can you feel a breeze against your cheek? Can you feel how one arm is heavier than the other? Can you feel a tingling or numbness in one hand? Can you feel how one arm is more relaxed than the other? Can you feel a change in the temperature in the air around you? Can you feel how your left arm is warmer than the right? Can you notice any tightness in your left arm? Can you feel a heaviness in your legs? Can you feel how one arm and leg are heavier than the other? Can you imagine something very pleasant? Can you imagine what it would feel like to float on a cloud? Can you allow yourself to drift lazily? Can you feel your face getting soft? Can you imagine a beautiful flower? Ah, lovely. You've just participated in a sensory step-by-step awareness activity. You can replay this part whenever you need to. The very first time I participated in this activity, I had teared up from the release of just coming back into my body. And so I invite you to welcome and invite any sensations that are arising. All right. Our next activity is called Become a Pencil. And this is a delicious full body stretch. And as you stretch into being the longest and leanest possible version of you, the body's internal organs will get a healthy stretch too. And this activity is done lying on your back with your arms right next to you at your sides. Let's take some breaths together, slowly inhaling and slowly exhaling. You might want to start inhaling through your mouth and exhaling through the mouth. And then for the next few breaths, inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Good, good. Let's just focus on breathing together the next few seconds, just paying attention to your slow exhales and inhales. And listen to the sound of your breath and know how wonderful it is to hear the sounds of your breath, your life force. Beautiful. Let's take a moment to see how many seconds of inhaling and exhaling feel good to you, and seeing if that number has changed from the beginning. And slow inhales help lower your heart rate and bring you to a state of relaxation. Good. Now let's get into becoming a pencil. And I'm going to walk you through what we will be doing first and give some modifications, and then I'll allow you to experiment on your own. And just know that me giving these instructions are going to take more time than the actual movement itself. And you know your body best. So if you feel like lying down with your arms at your side and just breathing, or if you want to make your own modifications, I encourage that. And I'm happy you are following your body cues. So at first, you are going to slowly inhale and raise your arms from your sides up and over to alongside your head. And you will complete this motion based on how many seconds of inhaling feels good to you. So for me, I'll count to 5, and when I get to 5, I'll have my arms by that time right next to my head. And when you move your arms, you're keeping your arms straight, so your elbows will end up right next to perhaps somewhere alongside your head. And once you have completed this slow, long inhale with your arms, when you get to the top, when you hold your breath, I want you to pause and stretch even further to make your body longer. You can do this by imagining your ankles being pulled to stretch out, your middle torso and your legs. In your mind's eye, you can imagine your whole body stretching out in one long line from head to toe. And you're going to stretch yourself out as long as you can and stretch a little bit more. And then as you release the breath, you're going to remain lying there with your arms just laying next to your head in a relaxed position. And the purpose of the stretch is to provide relief to your shoulders and lower spine. But this can put pressure on your lower back, and if that's the case, you can pop a pillow under your back for extra support. And if that feels uncomfortable, you can raise your knees and just focus on slowly and solely stretching your arms above your head and not your lower body too. And so let's start and do some sets for this where you become a pencil 5 times. And then after we do it 5 times, maybe you would like to do another set of 5, or maybe you'd simply like to curl up in a ball, or maybe you'd like to lay on your back. just listening to whatever feels good to your body. And I love doing this in the morning to help me transition. It helps me muster up the energy to leave my bed, especially on a really cold day. And I sometimes love doing this while playing ASMR sounds in the background, and it makes my entire body feel like it's being tickled. And you don't need to do this back to back. After one breath, you can just lay there with your arms up or lay there with your arms down in the starting position. And then, whenever feels good, then you can resume the motion of becoming a pencil. So let's do this 5 times together if you'd like, or you can simply continue at your own pace. But your legs may be long and your arms are at your side. As you inhale, your arms are coming up and above you and are slowly going to now rest right next to you near your head. And as they are resting, you are stretching out, you're tensing, you're feeling that tension as if you are being stretched out. And just when it starts to feel uncomfortable, you relax. Good, good. So let's do 4 more of these at your own pace. So let's inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and stretch out those arms as much as you can. And then just simply relax. Mm, beautiful. Good. Maybe you're already starting to feel a little bit more tall or limber. And let's do it again. Let's go back and have our arms right next to our sides. And we're going to go slowly up and over as you inhale. And as it reaches above you, you're going to stretch out again. Stretch your lower body, your upper body, and then relax. Beautiful. You can do as much or as little as you like. And as you lay there with your body long, you've given your internal organs a stretch. You can just put one hand on your heart, the other hand on your belly, and just give yourself gratitude for giving your internal organs a little stretch and a gift. Beautiful. And for our next activity, we will be doing some toe tapping. This is also another exercise I love to do in the morning. And toe tapping is a practice to strengthen grounding, and it originated in traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, and Qigong. So we're going to continue laying down on our backs and allow your hips and legs to rest easily, your hips loose and your feet a few inches apart. And you're going to rotate your feet inward and tap the sides of your big toes together before letting your legs and feet roll back out. And your toes should meet just below the nail at the widest part of your big toe. And be sure to rotate your feet and legs in and out from your hips so you're not just rotating from your ankles. And this helps loosen the hips, which supports grounding. You can also do this while sitting too. And while you find your rhythm, it can help to pick up the pace as you continue to tap your big toes together, and this momentum will make it easier to sustain. And if you'd like, if you wish, you can close your eyes and relax as you continue tapping. And you might even try listening to fast rhythmic music while tapping to that beat. And when you have the hang of it, you can do breath work, combine mindfulness practice. You might even read or watch a show as you tap your toes. And I encourage you to pause this video and tap for a minimum of 5 minutes. And allow yourself to play music and tap to a beat that feels accessible and good to you. 10 minutes is excellent, yet 5 is beneficial and far better than not at all. And once you stop tapping, you can scan your body again and notice if you feel any subtle or significant shift in your energy. For instance, you might have felt tired when you started and now are energetic enough to perhaps even accomplish a task. Or you might be winding down for the day and notice you feel more relaxed or even tired, but a good tired. Or maybe you observe a subtle, tingly feeling of movement somewhere in your body. And toe tapping is meant to be an ongoing daily practice. You can tap once, twice, or several times a day. And the results can seem subtle, but don't let that fool you. This practice is more powerful than you may realize. The effects are cumulative, taking up to a year to experience the full benefits. When change is gradual, we often fail to realize the impact of a practice. Yet, if we think back to where we were a year ago in relation to grounding, anxiety, and the flight fight response, we will see progress. And experiencing the gradual results of this practice was the first thing that made me hopeful when I was at the lowest point in my recovery from sexual violence. And so maybe you're tapping along as I'm speaking. That's brilliant. And I encourage you to try this out and then have it as a daily practice in whatever shape or form. Let's take a breath together. Beautiful. As we come to an end, we will close with some self holding and self swaddling. And while laying down, you can bring your knees to the chest and hug them. And if it's easier, you can lay on your side. And I want you to hug yourself tightly and squeeze yourself tightly when you inhale. And then you already know the drill. When you exhale, you can slowly release. Nice. And if you'd like, you can rock side to side. You can hug yourself tightly. And I invite you to say out loud, I can be gentle with myself. I can move slowly. I can choose rest. I choose peace. Beautiful. Maybe give your arms a squeeze and roll out your neck. Let yourself stretch out in whatever ways that feels good to you. Or maybe you just want to lie there and surrender to the ground and feel the beautiful weight of gravity. And as we check out, I have the same 3 check-in questions for you. So, how present do you feel in your body right now? 1 not being present at all, and 10 being extremely present. Just noting that number and maybe how it's changed from the check in the beginning. Good. And where do you store stress in your body? My second question for you. Noting which areas feel tight. Is it the same? Is it different? Hmm. And where feels neutral in your body? Just noticing. Amazing. Well, that concludes our somatic rest session. Thank you so much for putting aside time for yourself and making time to regulate your nervous system. Thank you for deepening your healing journey and doing the hard work. For me, it's very personal. For when I first started engaging in somatics, I felt so frustrated because I thought I was over my trauma since I understood it, I can name it, I can talk about it. And yet I was not able to sit through a full yoga session without either falling asleep or feeling restless. And I would zone out in meditations. And that's okay. I didn't have to force myself to engage with every method of healing because it's different for everyone. And the fact that you're open to somatics is so wonderful. It can be very disembodied as a survivor to come back to the body. And so we do it slowly and gently. So thank you for choosing yourself. I hope you feel deeply proud of yourself for resting, as that is very revolutionary and important in our fast paced society that makes it seem like there is no time for rest. Everything is urgent, and healing can be so tiring, draining, and frustrating. So I see you, and I'm so thankful for you. Thank you for giving yourself the gift of restorative rest, and feel free to check out the next best steps below.